Hello everyone, this is part 2 of What If Naruto Was Saved, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Hachibi opens his eyes, feeling a power surge. He gets up carefully, as to not disturb the woman sleeping next to him, and then walks off to the door of the cabin. Opening it, he walks to where the fire was. What was that power surge I felt? He questions the nothingness of the forest. Giving up on his search, he makes a fire and goes to hunt for some food for the morning meal. When he returns, he sees the woman he slept with awakened by the fire. "Good morning, dear," she says, looking over at him. "You felt the power too?" She adds, standing up. "Yes," he says, putting down what he gathered for the meal. "It was a rather disturbing power, not quite demonic nor human," he adds, afterwards walking over to the Sanbi and hugging her. "Why are you being so emotional now? You never were before," she asks, almost concerned about him. "No reason," he says, now breaking the hug in favor of preparing the food. Putting it on the fire, he walks into the cabin and over to Naruto and Hinata. "Wake up, sleepyheads," he says before shaking them awake. Now that's more like him. Sanbi thinks, watching him wake up the kids from their sleep, smiling. "It's still so early," Naruto shouts after he got dressed. "Couldn't you have let us sleep a little longer?" He asks, walking out of the cabin to see Hinata, Hachibi, and Sanbi eating what looks to be meat. "Hey, save me some," he shouts, running over to the fire and grabbing a piece of meat before sitting now next to Hinata. "If I let you sleep in any longer, I would have eaten your food for you," the man with the side response. "Would you rather be hungry or tired?" He asks, continuing to eat before Sanbi snuggles up to him, getting as close as possible, restricting his ability to eat. "Piff, I'd get QB on you then," he says, forgetting Hinata didn't know about the QB sealed in him, continuing to eat. "ANOW, who is KQB?" Hinata asks innocently, looking over at Naruto, who stopped eating and looked down, with a clouded overlooking in his eyes. Naruto-kun. "Kichi won't judge you, you're going to have to tell her sometime, why not no?" The usually quiet QB says to Naruto. "Okay," Naruto says out loud, "I'll tell you, Hinata-san." He looks up at Hinata, grimly. "Please, don't be afraid of me afterwards." This statement getting a small chuckle from the Hachibi and the Sanbi, unheard by either of the other two. I have tea, the QB no Kitsune, sealed inside of me," he says, looking down. Hinata gasps, "Didn't the Yondaime K the QB?" She questions concernedly. "Hardly, you humans didn't see the beginning of his power," Hachibi says, looking at him. "As long as we're confessing to each other, I am the Hachibi, the eight-tailed demon bear. Don't worry, I won't hurt you." Demon. Naruto and Hinata say, incision, looking at him. "Why would a demon want anything to do with us?" "Yup. And I'm the Sanbi, three-tailed demon fox," says the last occupant of the area, still clinging onto the Hachibi, and Hinata-sama is the host to the Yonbi, the four-tailed demon cheetah. "You don't have to believe me, but I wanted to tell you anyways." This was a lot to take in at once for Hinata. Not only was her friend, Naruto, a demon host, but her sensei is a demon, and she is supposable a Jinchuriki herself. She just sat there for a while. "Naruto-kun isn't bad. My sensei isn't like the demons in law." Same with Hachibi. They still are the same people they were before, aren't they? Why run away now? She thinks, looking at other people around her. It doesn't matter. If you're host, or AD demon, why you're still the same person, she says, looking at Naruto with a caring expression. "If Hinata-san can accept me and you, then I can too," Naruto says next, looking at the two demons and then at Hinata's pale lavender eyes, smiling. "Well, now that that's settled, let's get moving. We can get to a destination in half a day's walk," Hachibi says as he starts to put out the fire. When the fire is out, he goes to the cabin, does a few seals and says, "Release." The cabin falls apart into the pieces that it was made from. "Let's go, I wanna get there soon," Sanbi says, pulling Naruto and Hinata up from where they were sitting. "Come on." She jumps at Hachibi, who catches her and walks over to Naruto and Hinata. "Come on, you two, you can talk while we're walking, we won't be going that fast." Hachibi says, turning to the left and walking forwards, with Sanbi still in his arms cuddling into him. He looks back and sees Naruto and Hinata following them, talking every now and then. They walk for about 7 hours, at a slow pace. As they arrived at his huge unkempt field, that the grass was as tall as Naruto and Hinata, Sanbi got out of Hachibi's arms and looks across the field and barely making out two figures. One was clearly Mayoshu, the others she had some trouble identifying. Looks like someone beat us here, she states, grabbing the scythe wielder's hand, and started to walk forward. Come on. It seems that way, Hachibi says, following his lover. He was soon followed by the two children who could not see over the grass, and disappeared into it, wondering who it was that got there before them. With Gaara and Makiko. Gaara wakes panicked, believing the Shukaku had escaped while he slept. Looking around, he sees the cabin in which he went to sleep in. He remembers the day's events. Sighing in relief, he settles back down, for once not feeling the presence of the Shukaku attacking him. Wake up, Gaara, I've found somewhere we can go. It's about a 2-hour walk from here, says the voice of Makiko, walking up to Gaara. She brings her hand to Gaara's body, ready to start shaking him. Can't I sleep for a little longer? The redhead asks drowsily. I haven't slept in years, he adds, trying to gain her pity. That won't work on me, Gaara, she says, now shaking him. I didn't sleep for 10 years, and I still got up when my sensei said after the first day of sleep, she adds, starting to get angry. Okay, I'll get up, Gaara says, rolling away from her hand before standing up. Did you make anything for breakfast? He asked, walking over to the door. Yup, it's just outside, hurry and eat so we can start moving. Once we get there, you can sleep for a little longer. She says, following Gaara outside. When they're both are outside, she starts some hand seals and says, release, as the cabin crumbles into what it started as. She then looks over at Gaara and sees him finish eating the last piece. Wow, you're a fast eater. Do you want to keep the Shukaku sealed or should I unseal him? She asks. Keep him sealed till you have to unseal him, I like the quiet. He says, standing up and looking at her. Which way? This way, she points to the right. Follow me, she starts to walk off and Gaara follows close behind, both walking leisurely. They talk every now and then, mostly about where they were going. After 2 hours, while they're walking past a big tree, they hear a voice. Greetings, it said in an old tired way. Gaara, Makiko, it seems you have arrived. First, it adds after a long pause. Ohio, Mayoshu-sama, says Makiko. It wasn't hard being the first, the others are on the other side of the island. She adds, going around to the other side of the tree, with Gaara following. You know him? Gaara asks, looking over to him. Of course, he was my sensei when I was younger, he taught me almost everything I know, she responds with Graud in her voice, smiling happily. Gaara, feel free to sleep longer. The other won't be here for a while, the old man says, looking at him. There is a tree behind me that I changed into a bed. You can sleep there if you want. Okay, he says as he walks around the tree. Looking around, he finds said other tree and jumps onto it and, almost instantly, falls asleep. Not really wondering how his sensei's master knows about the Ichibi. Mayoshu-sama, how long do you think it'll take them? She asks, sitting beside the tree that the old demon master was sitting in. About 5 hours, he says, looking off into the field and his newly returning wildlife. Makiko sit next to him while Gaara sleeps. They wait like that for 5 hours before Makiko stands up. I think I see them, she says, straining her eyes to look out over the field. Within another few minutes, the Hachibi and Sanbi appear out of the long grass, and the Sanbi, being her crazy self, runs over to hug the Nibi. Hello, she practically screams, running towards the Nibi. The Nibi, having other plans, brings her hands up, spreading the Sanbi's arms farther apart, then grabbing her left shoulder, tugging on it, knocking her off balance, then brings her leg up to trip her, only to feel it be pinned to the ground. Looking up, she sees the Hachibi. Or no fair call off you, husband, she says, trying to get her foot out of the pinned. Boo, why, I love him, she says. Gaining her balance back, she jumps onto Hachibi's back and wrapping her legs and arms around him, much like a piggyback ride, giggling. Can you at least tell him to get off of my foot? Makiko yells at him. Her foot is then released and she brings it back to support herself. Where is Gaara? The Hachibi questions, looking around for him. He is sleeping, says the old man in the tree chair. Naruto, Hinata, welcome to my domain. I am the Demon Lord. he says, not even looking at him, knowing they know about Hachibi and Sanbi, and that is, the Nibi. Hey, do you want to scare them away? She practically yells, walking up Gaara, who walk over to them, curious about who the other people are. They already know about us. Good morning, Gaara, he says, being the only one to notice his awakening. Everyone is here now. What about Ichiro and Suyako? Nibi asks, looking around thinking maybe she didn't see them. Ichiro is attending to clan business, and Suyako is being ignorant. Hachibi says the last part coldly, getting Sanbi off of him and turning her around, pulling her into a hug. Her, which surprised the Nibi, as is not usually so forward. Gaara, Naruto, Hinata, your training will commence now. Makiko, train Gaara, Zakimarui, Naruto, Serena, Hinata, he says, Zakimarui being Hachibi and Serena Sanbi, and I will train Makiko, Zakimarui, and Serena. Tere, father existent, Nibi, tell Gaara who we are. What does that mean? Gaara asks, looking at Nibi for an answer. He means to tell you that we're demons, and the children over there are Jinchuriki like you, only, we have to do something about Hinata's seal, it's locking Yonbi away to well. She tells him, this news not disturbing Gaara much. I will handle that, the old man says, standing up and walking over to where Hinata currently stood. Child, I will not harm you, he says, mustering all of his strength to say the sentence in one breath, afterwards doing a few hand seals, and saying, demonic seal reversal jutsu. His body then slowly becomes covered in red, blue, and black chakra. He moves his hand closer to her body, but not close enough to touch her, and the chakra starts to flow around her. As this happens, the huge seal, that almost completely covers her body, glow yellow, showing the immense of the knowledge that whoever sealed her had to have possessed. As the red, black, blue chakra covers her body, the seal begins to shrink until it's as small as the seal on Naruto, resting on her right eye. The chakra then fades away along with the glowing of the seal until it completely disappeared from sight. Shugoi, what was that? Naruto questions, looking at the old man, who is now retreating to his chair. Can you teach me that? Naruto, that's not a technique that will be useful for much other than removing a seal or changing it, Zakimarui states with Serena still in his arms. I suggest we let him rest for now and begin training. He adds, knowing that, even if he could beat him in a fight, he is still very old and easily tried. In the water village with Haku and Suyako. Haku's eyes open slightly, having this odd sensation of warmth. She then able to make out a room, and the plain white bed she was sleeping in. Where am I? She asks quietly. She then smells something delicious in a room not too far off. That was real. She asks, mentally remembering the events of yesterday, snuggling deeper into the soft bed, deciding to make the best of it. But the door opened and the delicious smell grew 5 times. Good morning, Haku. Came a happy voice from the doorway. Time to get up and eat, she adds after walking up to the desk and setting the tray, which she had been carrying, down. When you feel like it, your food is on the desk, and I'll be in the living room. She then walk out the door and closes it, leaving Haku to either sleep or eat. When the door closed, Haku pulled the covers off of her body before going over to the desk. Still tired, she finds a chair there and sits down. She pulls the plate closer and picks up the utensils, then begins to eat. When she is done, she's fully awake, and notices that she still has the kimono on, only very ruffled now. She tries her best to get at least some of the wrinkles out. Failing miserably, she stops trying and walk over to the door. Why should I ever leave this place? She wonders, hoping that Suyako will let her stay for, at least until she can get a job and such. Haku sees Suyako flipping through the channels on the TV. Boredly, not seeming to notice Haku as she sits next to her. Ohio, Haku-chan. Suyako says enthusiastically, how was your sleep? She asks, looking over at her, still in the pink kimono she gave her. Oh, you look so cute in that kimono. She says, fully realizing her creativity. Haku promptly blushes. Didn't you realize this before? Stuttering from embarrassment, and looking down. Not really, I was more focused on your hair, and feeding you, she says, now putting her hand on Haku's chin and pulling it gently upwards. Don't look down, you'll make yourself look vulnerable, she adds, smiling at her. Oh, okay. Haku responds, looking at her new mentor. Mustering all of her courage, she asks, Suyako-san, can I stay here longer? This statement making Suyako's already smiling face bigger and happier. Of course. You can stay as long as you want, dear. Now it was her turn to conjure up some courage, and maybe even become my adopted daughter. I've always wanted children, but I have no one to give birth. She looks down, forgetting her previous words. This time Haku pulls her head up in the same manner. Don't look down, you'll make yourself look vulnerable, she quotes Suyuko, making her giggle. Ah, but you see, I am strong enough to not need to look strong, she says, playfully pulling Haku into a hug, causing her to blush. Are you a ninja? She asks after getting control of herself, and hugging her back, slightly. Something like that, comes the unusual depressed voice of Suyuko, but I'd rather not talk about that. For now all you need to know is that, I can protect you, I can train you, and I have no obligations to any villages, she adds in a shaky voice, still holding Haku. Gumen, I didn't mean to upset you, Haku says in a very sad, apologetic tone, hoping that she didn't upset her maybe mom too much. It's okay, I would have had to tell you sometime, better now than later, Suyuko responds, letting go of Haku, and smiling, sort of. What do you say? Will you be my child? She changes the subject and her attitude, in a split second. I would settle for just being able to stay here every now and then, but I would love to. Haku talks normally till then end when she yells it out, hugging Suyuko again. I'm glad I can help you, and that you'll be my daughter, and I can tell if you want to, you'll be a great ninja. This brings a smile to Haku's face. Really? Will you train me, so I can help you and myself? She questions enthusiastically, breaking the hug to look her in her sliver eyes. Of course I'll train you, you have a blood limit, don't you? She realizes what she missed yesterday, this is why she was abandoned, or whatever it is that happened to her. Humans are so cruel. Haku's eyes widen with fear. Why yes, she says with tears starting to form, getting up and walking backwards. Is she going to leave me like the others? She wonders. Please don't leave me, begs Haku. Why? Why would I leave you, for something like that? Something you have no control over, she asks, walking over to Haku and hugging her again. I will not be scared away because of a little blood limit. She gently strokes her hair, considering I'm what causes them. Why you won't? She more or less says, looking at her new mother, hoping to not find hate in her eyes. Yup, I'll stay with you till the end. How about we try to teach you to control that blood limit of yours? Or if that doesn't work, maybe we'll try some chakra control, Suyuko says, standing up, which successfully breaks the hug, and walks over to the door, opening it to see nice weather. When did that happen? She asks with a devious smile. Are you coming or not, Haku-chan? That statement gets the other girl in the room to run up to the one at the door, and together they walk off to a training ground somewhere. When they get there, Suyuko turns to her seriously. Haku-chan. Yes, Haku responds, seeing her a lot more serious now. You are a Jinchuriki to the Rokubi, the six-tailed demon panther. Before you go get all emotional, I am Gobi, the five-tailed demon wolf, she says, smiling at her, hoping that Haku would accept herself and her new mother figure. End and time skip. Last time. You are a Jinchuriki to the Rokubi, the six-tailed demon panther. Before you go get all emotional, I am Gobi, the five-tailed demon wolf, she says, smiling at her, hoping that Haku would accept herself and her new mother figure. Now time. What? Haku questions, looking at her, stuttering and shaking. She manages to say, I'm a Jinchuriki. How do you know? I'm a demon. I can sense another demon's presence, even if they're sealed into another, Gobi says, kneeling in front of Haku, looking her in the eyes. I don't know if I am, but I'll believe you, Oka-san. It doesn't matter. If you're a demon, you've treated me better than humans, so you're still my mother, Haku says, bringing a huge smile to her mother's face. I'm glad you don't judge by les, Suyuko says, standing up. She adds, now let's get to that training, shall we? 4 years later, a girl was walking through the almost deserted town towards a building that was clearly the Cage's residence. Dressed in a form-fitting black-white combat suit, providing minor armor on the sea legs, arms and end, but nothing that would reduce mobility. I wonder if I'll be able to join the water now. She ponders this, not hearing the person approach on her right side. Haku-chan. What did I say about spacing out? I could have KU 8 times. The new person says to the now identified Haku, who promptly jumped out of her skin. Gumenoka-san, she says after regaining some of her dignity, I was wondering if they would let me into the ninja ranks, again starting to space out. Well, stop. You leave yourself to open. That alone can cost you your life. In this line of work, this time she hits her gently to try and wake her up more. I'll go with you. Okay, thank you, she says back. They walk mostly in silences for the remainder of the trip as they got to the building, and opened the door. They walked up a few, more like 2,000, flights of stairs. State your name and business, came a voice from the desk that was in front of them. I am Suyako, and this is my daughter, Haku. We wish to enroll her into the academy, Suyako says, taking control of the situation. Then go to the academy. We don't have enough time on our hands to deal with every wannabe ninja. You don't understand. She disappears and in now standing next to the person at the desk, with a hand to his tea. If this were under normal circumstances I'd agree, but it's not now. Get me the Mizukage before I just go in there myself, she says, starting to leak out K intent, which gets the ninja that was there to run, after being released, into the Mizukage's office and then come back saying, he'll see you now, just up the hall, fist on your left. Thank you, Suyako says, now back at Haku, both of them walking into the Mizukage's office. Welcome Suyako, it's been a while, would you stop scaring my ninja? The Mizukage says, looking up at then, from the pile of work he has on the desk, who is this child? He adds, seeing Haku. She is the reason I'm here, Mizukage. I have been training her for the past 4 years, and she wants to enroll as a ninja. I didn't want her to sit in the academy for another 5 years learning already known stuff, so I was hoping you could get her into the graduation exams coming up. Suyako addresses the Mizukage, not caring about putting the usual, for ninjas, Sama at the end. If you've been training her, I'm sure she could beat any Junin and even Anbu in this village. Consider it done, the exams are tomorrow. The Mizukage says, going back to his now increased workload. With Naruto, Hinata, Gaara, Makiko, Zakimarui, Serena. Panting from excision, Naruto fall to the grounds, followed by Hinata and Gaara, all exhausted. In the first 3 weeks of their training they all mastered chakra control. Hinata and Naruto were taught how to use their demons, and Gaara how to suppress his, and Hinata's demon, the Yonbi, taught her to unlock her blood limit and use it. Then they were trained for the rest of the 4 years, in taijutsu, ever now and then taught a ninjutsu or genjutsu. Good, says the voice of the Hachibi, I think they're ready for the next stage, what do you think? He asks his fellow demons. I don't know about your students, but Gaara's not much of a taijutsu person, he's more than ready, Makiko says back. Hinata-sama is doing really good, she seems to excel in taijutsu, under the right pressure. Next stage. What's that? Naruto asks curiously, wondering if he'd learned something like what the old demon lord did before. Well, the next stage is seeing which you're better at, ninjutsu or genjutsu, Hachibi response, after breaking the K, follow us kids, this statement getting groans and moans of protest. They just finished their rigorous taijutsu exercise, but following 'em anyways. Now this place was a lot harsher before, but we toned it down a lot. This will give you various mental tests that will seem like it's real, a very advanced genjutsu I can even do, but it will throw much more basic genjutsu and ninjutsu. If you can get out of the genjutsu it generates quickly, then you generally will be good with genjutsu. The ninjutsu part, I'm not sure what that's about, but it works, so just go with it, the Nibi says. The still tired Jinchuriki try to absorb the information, but mostly fail, resigning themselves to just getting it over with. Naruto volunteered first, he lost to all genjutsu, the ninjutsu though, where most defeated, meaning he's a ninjutsu kind of ninja. Hinata was next, she got out of all genjutsu and avoided most ninjutsu, rather balanced ninja but leaning more to genjutsu. Gaara is last, he avoids most genjutsu, defeats all ninjutsu. He's same as Hinata, only leaning to ninjutsu. Well, now that that's done, next test will be finding your element. Gaara does not need to partake in this, for he has taken on Shukaku's element, sand, Hachibi says, this time walking off in a seemingly random direction, coming back after a while with 2 pieces of paper-looking things. These are chakra paper channels, some chakra enter it and it should somehow be destroyed, which how it is destroyed will tell us what element you're good with. Again Naruto volunteers first, he grabs one of the pieces of paper, and channels his chakra into it. The paper is then seen in half, surprising Naruto, who drops it on the ground. Seems that you'll win, Naruto, rather rare, and you'll need precise control, and a lot of chakra. Hachibi says again, chuckling at his reaction, gaining an angry glare from Naruto, which only made him laugh more. Hinata, how about you go now? Okay, she says, grabbing the last piece of paper before channeling chakra in it only to have it turn into soil and fall to the ground, where it hit grew numerous plants of all different types. Interesting, I have never seen this before. Hachibi looks at it baffled, as well as all of the other demons standing there. What could this mean? Very rare, came a different voice that they all recognized instantly as Myaoshu, a sub-element of earth, plants, very powerful, even more so than a normal element. All sub-elements are, I have only seen a sub-element twice in my life, he continued. If she gave Master this element, they will be much closer to their ultimate goal. Some random location. A man dressed in full back, tight shirt showing off his well-formed muscle and loose black cargo pants, short hair, which is a deathly green, that barely covers the top part of his head, with a giant sword on his back, that covers his entire back, is looking down on a village. It's that time already, is it? He says to no one. The wind starts to pick up, making his cape noticeable. On the back it's be black, but underneath is be red, only colored like this because of stains. Kimimaro, you a fool, he says, jumping towards the village walls, only to be greeted but the sound 5. He smiles. This makes things much easier. 4 out of 5 of the sound nins charge at him, readying their weapons. The other takes out a flute and starts to play. The man draws his giant sword, and in the blink of an eye all but one of the sound 5ers, the survivor's eyes go wide. He hadn't seen him move. Kimimaro, the other person said, putting his sword away, Orochimaru only wants your body, but you have contracted AS, one that humans cannot cure. Who are you? What do you want? He asks, activating his curse seal, level 2, changing into a demonic-like thing. He pulls out a bone and readies a defense. Kimimaro, don't make me KU, I am Shichibi, the creator of your bloodline. Kimimaro just charges him. Shichibi grapes Kimimaro's weapon, not even caring when it open his hand. You should not be used as a tool, be the user, bend Orochimaru to your will. If you need help, I am always willing to train you. Shichibi disappears. He is now inside the village. He finds Kabuto, and in a second he suffers the same fate as the sound ninja who tried to stop him. He leaves the village, and sits in the forest waiting for Kimimaro. Another 4 years later, Hinata-chan, shouted the usually loud blonde boy in the small camp that had been made, where are you? He asks to the wind, for no one responded, but he continued to search for her. Suddenly someone tapped his shoulder. He turns around to try and see who it was, but there was no one there, or so it seemed. Naruto-kun, you can see past even this genjutsu, says the easily identified Hinata, dropping the genjutsu to appear in front of him. Dressed in semi-tight pale lavender shirt, showing some of her curves, and tight, black pants that cling to her legs, she usually has a dark blue jacket over top of her, covering her feminine details. Her hair falls to the middle of her back, pulled back into a semi-ponytail in the back to keep it out of her hair when she fought. With the camp fading away, though neither really paid attention. Seems I'll never be able to get past a genjutsu, Naruto says, chuckling nervously, looking into her pale eyes that were filled with concern. You'll get it some time, Naruto-kun, she says caringly, knowing something bad could happen if he didn't, but for now, why don't we go back? She looks at him. Dressed in baggy black cargo pants, loose-fitting black shirt lined with orange, with same spiky blonde hair. One last time before, she turns to walk back to the true camp, with Naruto following her. Say, Hinata-chan, what do you think senseis have in store for us today? Naruto asks after catching up to her. Their hands brushed together, causing them both to blush, but neither said anything about it. I don't know, Naruto-kun, was her answer, as they continued to walk in silences for a while. Any, Hinata-chan, do you think you could teach me how to control the plants like you do? Naruto asks, finding it very cool that she can do that, and wanting to be able to do it himself. I can try, but you probably won't be as good as me, she responds, knowing that their senseis did the element test for a reason. Really? He asks, Shugoi. It doesn't really matter if I'm not as good as you, besides it's your specialty, so I hope you'll still be better than me. I just thought it would be cool to do that, like you. This causes Hinata to blush. Naruto-kun thinks that what I can do is cool. She starts to space out with that thought, but a hand on her shoulder s her out of that. Hinata-chan, where are you going? The mail with said person asks, seeing her start to wander off in the wrong direction, the camp is this way, isn't it? He adds, pointing to the right. Hi, I guess I lost myself in thought, she responds, blushing again, turning in the right direction. She follows where Naruto had started to walk towards. When she catches up to him, he grasps her hand, both then blush, a lot. Naruto-kun, she asks, intertwining her fingers with his, almost as if it was a reflex. Both of them then blush even more. Jigamen, Naruto says, letting go, only to have Hinata squeeze his hand. I didn't stop, she says, felling Naruto's hand close on hers again. They then continued walking to the camp in relative silences, talking ever now and then, about nothing of real importance. As they entered the camp, they intently saw Sanbi standing in front of them. Isn't that cute? She says, seeing Naruto and Hinata holding hands, causing them to blush again, only a lot deeper. They like each other. She then skips off singing some random song of love and relationships, probable looking to Hachibi. She gets weirder every day, Naruto says, looking around the camp, finding nothing interesting, then looking over at Hinata's pale lavender eyes, almost becoming entranced by them. Naruto-kun, that's not nice, Hinata says, also looking at the one that she loves eyes. Zakimarui has called us all in, I suggest you come sometime soon, Gaara's voice said, piercing through their thoughts. They both looked over at him. He was wearing what he does in the anime after the time skip, only there were no bags under his eyes, okay, well, lines around his eyes, but whatever, and no kanji for love. Okay, so I got lazy, but it actually looks good. Okay, thanks Gaara-san, Naruto says. Gaara disappears in a swirl of sand, leaving the two future lovers alone. Well, I guess we should go over there then. Yeah, Hinata responds. They then both walk over to the middle of the camp, where they find Sanbi holding onto Hachibi like he was going to disappear if she didn't, and the Nibi sitting as far away from him as possible, with Gaara between them. The lovers are here. Serena announced loud enough for people in hell to hear, making Naruto and Hinata blush, Sanbi still holding onto Hachibi, only sitting on his lap facing him now. Okay, enough embarrassing them, dear, we need to do something, remember. Zakimarui asks, Naruto and Hinata sit down about 5 feet away from him. Now that we're all settled, somewhat, I have a question for all of you. Do you wish to go to an hidden village, and which one? I have no preferences either way, Gaara says in an uncaring way, waiting to see if they would be going to a village. I would like to go back to Konoha, Naruto says, not surprising much of anyone. He's said a few times he would like to see his Oji-san again. I do too, Hinata says. I want to see if my father has changed. She finishes, looking down, holding onto Naruto's hand tighter, who squeeze her hand back. Alright then, we'll go to Konoha, Makiko says, getting up and starting to pack up everything. With Haku and Suyuko. Well, this is the fastest I've ever seen anyone grow. I am honored to have you in my village, and I hereby give you, and your caretaker, the level of Hunter-nin, the Mizukage says, standing in front of with Haku and Suyuko, on the deck of the Mizukage Tower, with people from all over gathering to watch their most promising new ninja, and her trainer become Hunter-nin. You two will be on the same 2-man squad and will start your hunting of any missing nin you wish in 2 days' time. Thank you, Mizukage-sama, Haku and Suyuko say at the same time, kneeling down and bowing to him. Are you sure you want to be tied to this village, Suyuko? He asks quietly so that only them can hear him. I know you don't like to be tied with anyone. I am taking this role mostly to guard Haku. I will let her fight her own battles, but I will not allow anyone to K her. This is technically a 1-man squad. I am merely backup, Suyuko responses, making Haku happy and mad at the same time. Very well, but you will be listed as a 2-man squad. Here are your masks. He hands a dragon mask to Haku and a wolf mask to Suyuko. You are dismissed. I want to hunt Zabuza, Haku says before either of them leaves. He is pure evil. I want to stop him. Very well, here is a bingo book. Your main objective is to hunt down and either K, or bring back for interrogation and execution, the Mizukage says, handing him a bingo book. If you run into anyone other missing nins as a hunter nin, you are obligated to K or bring back to the village. After he finishes this sentence, he turns around and walks back into the building. Haku and Suyuko then jump down to a lower building before jumping to the ground. They then walk, with their masks on, down the street. When they get to Suyuko's house, they take off their masks and sit down on the couch. What's with you, Haku? Suyuko asks, noticing, even when they were at the Mizukage Tower, her mixed emotions. Why do you feel you have to protect me no matter what? Said person asks, trying to be as respectful as possible, looking up at her. I'm sorry, but I can't stand the thought of losing you, even though I know you are easily beyond Anbu level, I still can't stand it, she says, looking away with sadness very easily seen in her eyes, and tears starting to form, until she feels Haku hug her. Go Gomenasai, I didn't mean to make you sad, Haku says, trying to cheer her up. It's okay, it's only natural that you would begin to want out of your mother protective grasp, and explore what it's like to be on your own, Suyako responds, but I'll never let you go away from me completely. At the border of Konoha, the guards on duty were sitting there, hoping that their boring guard duty would come to a close sometime soon. When they say 6 figures approaching the gate, they all instantly became alert, looking for any possible signs of an attack. It's not every day you see 6 people coming into the village at once. As the people come closer, they could see it was Zakimarui, Naruto, Hinata, Gaara, Makiko, and Serena. Of course they don't know who they are, but I'm too lazy to re-explain their appearance. As they reached the gate, the guard says, state your name and business in Konoha. He looked over everyone present, recognizing no one. Hinata and Naruto had a genjutsu on them, providing them with the cover they needed to get in the village unknown. I wish to see an old acquaintance of mine, I believe you call him Hokage-sama, and I would like to enlist my students into the academy for the graduation exam, Hachibi says, walking over to the gate, expecting them to open the gate as soon as he said that. Very well, open the gate, the guard yells to his allies on the other side of the gate, which promptly opened. We can find a way there, Hachibi says, ignoring whatever he was going to say and walking towards the Hokage Tower. His party followed him the whole way there, with Serena practically on Zakimarui, and Naruto and Hinata holding hands. They reached the tower and started to climb the stairs. When they reached the top, they were greeted by a Chunin-level ninja that was acting as the receptionist. Hello, what can I do for you today? He asks kindly. We would like to speak to the Hokage, tell him it's Zakimarui, says Hachibi to the receptionist. Alright, I'll be right back then. The ninja then gets up and walks over top the Hokage's office, knocking on the door and then going in. Coming back out, he walks over to the desk and sits down. He will see you, Zakimarui. The group walks to the office, which still has the door open. Closing it behind them, they hear the Hokage. Zakimarui, it's been a long time, he says, still trying to do some paperwork. What brings you back here? Well, if you would look up you would know, he responds, dropping the illusion on Naruto and Hinata. When the Hokage finished the page he was on, he looks up. N Naruto. H Hinata. He gasps out in surprise. Getting out of his seat, he walked to Naruto. Where did you find them? He asks Zakimarui. Oji-san. Naruto shouts. Letting go of Hinata's hand, he jumps at the Hokage, hugging him. Actually, I am the one who offered him another choice. I am also the one who saved Naruto from the villages, and this, he points to Gaara, is Gaara, another person we saved. Naruto-kun, Hinata thinks after hearing he had to be saved from the villages, knowing what could have happened if he didn't arrive then. At this time Naruto let the Hokage go, and Hinata walked up to him, who promptly turned around to face her, giving Hinata the perfect opportunity to hug him. Naruto-kun, even the villagers hated you, she whispers with tears starting to form. Naruto-kun. It's okay now, I had Oji-san then, and now I have all of you, Naruto says back, keeping his voice low, and hugs her. Or, their first hug. Guess who shouts this? With that said and them both blushing, she jumps towards Hachibi and K him. The Hokage coughs, trying to get everyone's attention, but failing miserably. When did this happen? He thinks, looking at Hinata and Naruto, then towards the two that are just standing there. Does this happen all the time? He asks, wondering how they could keep their sanity. Usually Zakimarui and Serena are like this, but Naruto and Hinata hugging is a new development. Makiko responds, looking at the curiously. Generally we have to just wait till they stop. Naruto's hand were around Hinata. They both heard Serena comment and blushed, a lot, but were too spaced out to even care or hear what else was going on. Naruto started to back up, bringing Hinata with him until they were at the wall. They both then sit down, with Hinata on Naruto's lap. Okay, enough, Hachibi's voice was heard. He had long since got the sanbi off of him and they were all waiting for them for at least 10 minutes now. Snap out of it. He yells, shaking both of them. They both instantly stand up and stop hugging, blushing deeply. A collective, Finally, could be heard to the bottom of the tower. Naruto grabs Hinata's hand and they both then looking over at the group that seemed to be getting very annoyed. How long were we like that? Naruto asks with a blush. About 10 minutes more the Zakimarui and Serena, so at least 20 minutes, Gaara says with little emotion, I suggest we start what we came for before something like that happens again. Good idea, the Sandaime says. Zakimarui, why is it that you've come back? Well, I wanted them to live a normal life, as normal as their lives will ever get as ninja and Jinchuriki at least, so I asked them if they wanted to go to a ninja village and they picked here, he says. I see, well I'll get them enlisted, Gaara, Hinata, and Naruto right. They'll be in the graduation exam that is tomorrow. I'll get a house for you Sixta. The Hokage walking over to his desk and pulls out some paper starting to make everything official. Actually, only 5 Makiko have other things she needs to attend to, and don't tell anyone of Naruto and Hinata. I think they should make friends without them having passed judgments, Hachibi says, getting a nod from the Sandaime. They are all ushered out by Makiko and Serena. Sarutobi, I have another question, he says like a friend would. This sudden drop in formality causes his head to rise up. What is it? He asks, hoping other to serious happened. It's about the Uchiha clan. You know how blood limits form, right? He asks and told him, hoping not to have to go into detail. Last time I remember, it was when demonic B is present in a normal human's body, but what does this have to do with you? I am the Hachibi, 8-tailed demon bear, and it's not just when demonic B is present, it's when a demon is bored and decides to bring chaos to humans. With a little effort the demon can make a blood limit by just touching a person. This information caused the Hokage's eyes to go wide. You started the Sharingan? He questions, looking at him, not in fear but surprise. Yes, that I did, and I wish to look over the remaining Uchiha. I do not want to be a sensei to him though, he's too stuck up for me. Zakimarui walks over to the window, and Itachi will less soon. He and Kisame coming for the Ichibi, but they do not know 3 Jinchuriki are here together. Uchiha Sasuke is in the graduation exams coming up. I can get them all in the same team if you want, Sarutobi says, standing up and following his friend. How do you know this? I have my ways, and can you please keep all of the Jinchuriki on the same team, or as many as possible? I don't really want to have to run back and forth to protect them all. How strong do you think your students are? Sarutobi asks. Alone, I'd say Anbu. Together, they could beat the Sannin and you at the same time. Together they're strong, alone they fall. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.